MBA programs have a lot of pros to them, but they also have their problems. When people think about getting an MBA, they often think about getting a boost in their salary and opening up new career opportunities, but it also comes at a cost, both monetarily as well as time investment. Not only that, but there's things like peer pressure that you have to deal with. You have to take out student loans and figure out how to deal with debt, all sorts of things. So later this year, I will be starting my MBA journey at Northwestern Kellogg School of Business, and I've also been fortunate to have a front seat to Jenna's MBA experience while she was at Duke University. So I'm gonna start off by saying that this video is entirely based on my opinion, but at the same time, I can definitely say with confidence that friends who I've made through Jenna's MBA program, they have validated a lot of my thinking, and really a lot of my opinions are based on shared learnings through their perspectives. All right, so the first thing off the bat is going to be maybe something that's not surprising to any of you. It's going to be the cost, and associated with that are the salary expectations coming out of a full-time or a part-time MBA program. This is a central point of criticism amongst MBA schools, and to be honest, it extends across all higher education. Be prepared for the cost of tuition alone to be $61,000 a year. Yeah, you heard that right. And if you factor in the cost of traveling as well as living expenses, you might be all the way beyond 100K. And like I was saying before, peer pressure is absolutely a real thing in MBA programs. There's a lot of pressure to go out and hang out with people that you're meeting. There's pressure to go on international trips. And all of that can definitely add up at the end of the day. And so based on the cost of this all, it pushes a lot of students into higher paying occupations out of school, such as investment banking or consulting, because in a lot of cases, some companies are actually going to reimburse the cost of your second year of tuition. That's not actually a bad deal, but if you're going into a field just because of the monetary gain and you're not really wanting to do it, that has its own set of downsides. There's definitely a good amount of friends that I have who are choosing to go down maybe the consulting route for, let's say, anywhere from 2 to 4 years before they try and get into a different field that they're more excited about. So the next problem with MBAs is, in fact, how they are framed. And an MBA program is framed often as a golden ticket to a road to success and money. But the reality is it's not a golden ticket, it's a toolkit. In an MBA program, you are the boss. You get to really dictate your schedule beyond some of the core classes that you have to take, and you really get to say and dictate your time in terms of what you want to get involved in. Along with that, fear of missing out is absolutely a real thing because there are just so many opportunities that you can participate in, and sometimes that overwhelms people. So another point is around internships and competition. And as I was mentioning before, MBAs often look to go into fields that are high paying, like consulting and investment banking. But the reality is it's not a sure shot thing. And it is highly competitive to get into these fields because you are competing not just with your peers at your business school, but also with students from other business schools too. There are only so many applicants and vacancies that are open at these companies, and especially in circumstances like when there's an economic downturn, that only makes it way more competitive. And as a result, it pushes a lot of students who were initially interested in getting into some of these fields out of those fields and into others because they just weren't able to end up with an internship, or their start dates were getting pushed back, in some cases by almost 6 to 8 months. So in a lot of cases, you're still left with these loans that you have to pay, and it's causing students to reconsider, do they want to continue down this path? Do they want to try and find another job? The last thing I'll say is networking is absolutely critical to your success in an MBA program, and it's not going to be something that's spoon-fed to you. An MBA is a toolkit, like I was saying, and it's up to you to take advantage of that toolkit. You have a 2 to 3 year period in most cases, and if you're not taking advantage of that, that's where the opportunity can be lost. So going into my MBA program, there's a few tips that I'm trying to keep in mind based on learnings from conversations and friendships I've developed with other MBA students and conversations I've had with alum. Basically, any tips, I'm trying to feed them into my own system and into my mind so that I don't make the same mistakes that they did. The first thing is I'm trying to imagine myself walking on that graduation stage and trying to envision, have I really taken advantage of everything that I could? Have I left nothing on the table? There was an alum at Northwestern who told me that he had this thought going into his program, and it was something that really helped him strategize what were the things that he's going to take advantage of along the way. So along with that, I'm trying to get a better idea of what is my why. Why am I here? What am I trying to accomplish? And there's a great book by the author Simon Sinek called Start With Why. And to be honest, that's been a really helpful read for me, just to internalize and get a sense of what are the questions I should be asking myself, almost so I can hold up a stencil to every type of opportunity that I'm presented with. Because Jen and I have moved to Chicago a few months early before I start my program, I've been able to dive into some of the startup communities in the Chicago area, and also try to learn more about the resources at my disposal when I do start my MBA program. Because from what I'm told, it gets very busy very quickly. And I can imagine, just having seen Jenna's experience as a full-time student, things pick up super fast. So it's good to have a sense of what you want to do before you actually are presented with those opportunities. The last thing is that I want to be a connector. I want to go in with a solid networking plan, something that I'm still trying to develop, but I've never been naturally great at networking and kind of keeping in touch with people, but I think this is such an important time in my life that I really want to strive to make friends with new people on a weekly basis. Just invite people to get coffee, maybe 2 new people a week. That's kind of my goal in my mind. And through that, I want to be somebody that if somebody's saying, hey, I have an interest in this area, I can say, hey, I know this other person who I can connect you with. And I think through that, through the power of the network and through the power of just being that person who can connect others, I think that that'll play in my favor in the end. So that's it, guys. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end of the video. If you found this video interesting, you might also find one of these videos interesting as well, related to MBAs. And until next time, take care.